Well, 2023 is done. We've now entered January 2024. And looking back at the playthroughs of 2023, sure, a good amount of that sure was learning and experiencing the storied Alone in the Dark franchise, which takes up a fair amount of space on the screen you're looking at right now. But of course, it was essential to get immersed into it because the new Alone in the Dark is coming out early this year. Well, it was originally supposed to come out late in 2023. Then it was pushed back to January, then pushed back to March, and that's where it still is now. So we'll see if it makes that release date. And if it does, of course, I will want to start playing that when it comes out so we can remain immersed in the aloneness, since now we have the full context of the series going into the new one. It's going to be very important. It's going to be essential that we have that context when it turns out that the new game is actually a secret sequel to Alone in the Dark on the Wii. That's the big secret. Like, they're keeping that under wraps, but I mean, it's going to be a shocking surprise for everyone when we get there. Alone in the Dark, though, wasn't the only playthrough of last year. There was a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of stuff on the screen right now. So let me know what your favorite playthrough of last year was. I mean, it's easy to remember certain things, like the varied Alone in the Darks, or maybe a Stray Souls. But I mean, there are some things that's easy to forget about, like Hardline, the FMV first-person shooter adventure about learning that you're kind of like a telekinetic cyborg, and so is your brother, and then you have to kill each other. Remember that? It's the first game in the screen. It's a very memorable game. I don't see why you would forget about that. Or Saw. I mean, I don't think anyone's forgotten about Saw. Maybe we could wish we could forget about Saw, but I mean, it's there. It's something that happened, and I can't ignore that. I can't just pretend it never happened. How about Quintus and the Absent Truth, about a man and his mouse, and apparently a sequel to that's being made. Will that come out this year? I don't know. But there are some games that I'm pretty sure are going to come out this year, like the new Alone in the Dark. Also, hopefully, Echostasis, because it seems like that's actually heading towards possibly a state where it might come out now, looking at what the developer's been saying on Twitter. So maybe we might be seeing that this year. What games are coming out this year that you're looking forward to? I'm trying to think about, I guess I don't really keep up that much about what's coming out in the future, since there are plenty of games to play now, so I'm not really thinking too much about that. I'm thinking about the present, living in the present, feet in the ground, keeping track of what's happening now and not what's happening in the future. And what's happening now is going to be a new playthrough. And by a new playthrough, I mean of an old game. That's usually how it is. It's usually the old games. Sometimes they're the new games, but usually the old. So we finished Alone in the Dark Wii in December, so that means it's time for a brand new game for a brand new year, and, well, I guess not brand new, because this is a continuation of a tryout from last year that I was interested in getting back to. But the first playthrough for this year, going to continue on with the PlayStation 1 survival horror classic, Overblood. So that's continuing tonight, because yes, today's Monday, so tonight is a stream, as we continue on with the adventures of Beardman and Peepo. I mean, Beardman, I should call him by his name, which I think was Raz Carsey. It's a tremendous name. So we tried that out a few months back, and I think it's time to now plunge into the mystery of Overblood and see if Raz and Peepo can survival horror. We will see. We're continuing that tonight on the stream. I mean, I don't know if that's a particularly long game, but that's the game I'm looking forward to playing right now. January is a long month. It's a full 31 days, so I'm sure that won't last the entire month. We'll see we'll see what comes up after that. It could be anything. We will see. All I know right now is that it's Overblood time, and we'll get going on that tonight. The stream, of course, as usual, is starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It takes place on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So, oh yeah, and of course the address is twitch.tv. It's Super Great Friend. Of course there is no D, and why is that? We all know why that is. It's because you don't want to get Dracula's attention, so you got to take off the D. So that's going to be happening tonight as we enter January. And I'll be thinking about what the second game for January will be after Overblood's done. There are a few candidates. Still haven't quite made up my mind. But as we go into 2024, we will see. I mean, 2023, a bunch of games came out that I really liked. We'll see how 2024 goes. With the first big release for me being Alone in the Dark in March. But who knows what this year might have in store for us. Like I said, tonight, 7 p.m., continuing on with Overblood. And let me know what your favorite playthrough from 2023 was. If I'm trying to think about what my favorite playthrough was, well, I mean, of the games I streamed, the one that I liked the most was Resident Evil 4. You know, an excellent base game, and then excellent expansion with Separate Ways. So I guess like that would have been my favorite playthrough, if we're talking about the quality of a game. That's not always what we're talking about, of course. When we're talking about what playthrough did you like a playthrough, it's not always what we're talking. We're not always talking about, hey, that was a good game. We might be talking about something completely different. I guess one thing I might mention in terms of favorite playthroughs, just a little thing, but in the top row, fourth from the left, actually playing an XBlig that I never got around to back in the day. An FMV classic in which you're in a forest and you have a dude with a sword or a dude with a hammer. It was called Sword and Hammer. It makes sense that the name's called that. And you just press some basic QTEs over repeating footage of some people hanging out in the woods cosplaying. And, it was just kind of nice to do an XBlig after all these years that I had never actually done. Just one last XBlig for the road. So maybe I might mention that one. But like I said, let me know what your favorite one was. And let it on the stream. Getting back to Overblood. Happy New Year. Hope you have a good January.